Good morning, 5th and 6th grade. Today we're going to be starting a new project working on Standard 9.1, and by the end of this project you should be able to develop and recognize different types of criteria to evaluate artwork. So let's kind of figure out what some of that means. What is criteria anyway? Criteria is the specific things that you're looking for when you're judging a piece of art. For example, if I asked you to tell me about the lines and the color in Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night, which I'll put up now, criteria is what you can say about the lines and the colors he used in that piece. So, if that's criteria, what's an evaluation? An evaluation is just a way of making an informed judgment about something. So if we go back to the line and color criteria in Starry Night that we just talked about, we could use that and we might be able to evaluate it saying something like this. Van Gogh was able to use lines of paint to make the stars and moon appear like they're glowing. And he also made the sky above to appear like it's moving by using those light and dark colored lines. His choice of mostly cool colors appear to make the scene take place at night. Alright, so here's another new phrase for you, and it's medium. What is a medium in art? A medium is just the materials that we use to create a work of art. More than one medium would actually be called media. So a couple different types of medium could be pencil, watercolor paint, oil paint, acrylic paint, clay, bronze, colored pencil, pastel, or many other different types of media. So if you were going to evaluate a piece of artwork on your own, you'd need to know some of these basic art words. Now we are going to use 4 of those, and we're going to use line, color, shape, and value, and those are going to be the criteria that we use to evaluate these next 2 pieces of art. That very first painting was by an Impressionist painter named Paul Signac. The second painting was done by an American pop art painter named Andy Warhol. Now here's what you need to tell me about those 2 pieces. You need to tell me how each one of those paintings uses line, color, shape, and space in their work. Alright, take a deep breath. That was a lot of information. So let me tell you a little bit now about who each one of those painters was. Paul Signac was a French Impressionist painter working in the 18 and 1900s. Andy Warhol was a pop art artist working in America in the 1900s, and he was a painter and also a printmaker. Now, if you're wondering what criteria sets Impressionism and pop art apart from one another, you're in luck because I'm going to tell you. Impressionist style focused on small, visible brush strokes, as well as lighting and making things look like they're actually moving, and the painters more or less tried their hardest to capture a single second, a single moment of life. Pop art, on the other hand, used very big, bold, bright colors, and the images were often things that were found in everyday culture at the time. If you are ever able to look at a painting and you saw a bunch of colors and details and those little tiny brush strokes, it's a good indicator that the painting that you're looking at is probably an Impressionist painting. On the other hand, if you see a bunch of big, bright, bold colors and not so many details, you're probably looking at some pop artwork. Now, onto your project. You need to find something. It could be a reference photo off the internet or even a magazine picture, or it can be something that's actually around your house. You're going to choose one of those 2 styles, either pop art or Impressionism, and you're going to recreate that object, that reference photo, whatever you're looking at. I'm using the bare minimum of stuff today: piece of paper, pencil, and eraser. If you have more materials at home, use more materials. If you have paint, paint it. If you have markers, add markers to it. You're going to make some sketches first, some small, tiny little sketches, and then you're going to choose the one that's most successful, and you're going to redraw it bigger on the back, or if you have clean paper, do it on clean paper. My object is going to be a spray paint can. I'm going to try to work in Impressionism because I like a good challenge. Pro tip: if all you've got is pencil and paper, pop art might be the best bet for you. I'm going to crank out a few different sketches from a couple different viewpoints on this. Watch how I do it. So you saw some sketching in action. After looking at these three, I kind of felt like maybe this was going to be my best bet, but then I got the idea to go ahead and draw my hand holding it, which is obviously a little bit trickier. If you need a little bit more of a challenge, feel free to do something similar, but I think that's the piece that I'm going to go with. So I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to work on the back of the paper, and I'm going to enlarge that sketch, try my best to make it look more impressionistic and add some more details. So when I see you again, I will be showing you, hopefully, a final successful impressionist sketch of my hand and that spray paint can. Here's my sketch. I thought before I got too into it, I could show you right now that if you were working in a pop art style, this would be a good spot to start adding those big, chunky, bright colors. Obviously, if you're doing impressionism, now's a good time to figure out where you're gonna need a lot of lines. So if you look at my little pointer finger over there on the right side of the paper, you can see I already started to add a lot of little, tiny, dark lines. Impressionism is all about making things kind of look like they have a lot of lines. So let's make a lot of lines. All right, I've got most of what I wanted to accomplish with my impressionist style, but I do probably want to go back in and fill some of that background now. And yeah, you guessed it, I'm going to go ahead and channel my inner Vincent van Gogh and put some Starry Night lines back there. Here's my finished piece. I've got a lot of lines in there. You don't necessarily have to go and spend all of your time making those little tiny lines. You can use big lines as well. All we're really looking for is